Welcome to our final QPR preview show before the November international break as we head to Yorkshire to face Sheffield United. QPR head there now with a run of three straight defeats. We had two home defeats this week against Ipswich and then Southampton. And we'll start with that Southampton defeat, Dave. Did you feel we deserved to lose again?
No, I did think we deserved something from the game. I thought it was a lot better than Saturday, but that wasn't hugely difficult, was it? Because that was dreadful the weekend. But I thought we did okay. I thought we were a better side first half. We just needed to get that first goal, just to raise the confidence and get a bit of belief. Madsen had that one off the line, and Bramall had a couple of half chances, and we just couldn't get that first goal. And once we conceded the first goal, you just felt the heads of everyone in the crowd, their heads dropped, the players' heads seemed to drop a bit, and it was a real struggle after that. And I thought it was two soft goals we gave away again. And to their credit, they kept going in the end, and they got back in the game, and we had chances to nick a point. So it wasn't a dreadful performance by any stretch, but it's just frustrating to, again, small details, silly mistakes are really costing us at the minute.
Yeah, my feeling is we should have got something from the game. I'm not convinced we deserve to win, but deserved a draw probably. First half was pretty much a stalemate, not really much to write home about. Bramall, that one when it fell for him and he tried to take a touch rather than just hitting it first time,
Mm.
probably costly now looking back because I agree with you. In these games, once we get on these losing streaks, we need the first goal. We've got to get the crowd into it. Once we fall behind, it's just not a great mood around the club. And it was the same as the weekend with just such easily preventable goals, wasn't it? We let Ipswich score the same set piece twice. And against Southampton, we give it away 20 yards out from our own goal for the first one. Second goal, let the guy run from his own half. It's a great finish, but that goal should happen. Someone should pull him back, come out and block him. It's very amateur goal to concede, basically. Also, QPR have now only scored more than one goal once in the last nine games. So going 2-0 down, it's basically game over at this stage for us, no matter how hard we try thereafter. And you could tell Southampton were so nervous at the end. They're not a team in form. We talked about that last week with Ipswich as well. They're not used to winning, yet we put in so many aimless crosses. We have 12 corners to one and still couldn't do enough to get a point. So very frustrating evening, continually shooting ourselves in the foot. And Paul Nardi as well, we've got to think, didn't even make a save in the game, yet we've managed to contrive to lose it. And before the game, there was five changes in the lineup too, and also a change in shape for this game. Is Julien Stephan now tinkering too much?
I think so. It does feel a bit like he's kind of picking the team due to how many games are in a week rather than picking the team to win the game in front of you. I felt he did need to make those changes tonight, and I didn't think the changes were bad that he made. I thought it was okay, the side he picked, but coming to the weekend, there'll probably be another five again. There's just not enough consistency in the team. And you're seeing, especially attacking players, they play an hour one week and then you don't see them again for 2 weeks, and then it seems to be chop and change a lot with them, and there's just no real consistency with it. I just don't think he's helping. I mean, he's still a new manager and it is still a new squad, so he is trying. I get that he's trying to find his best side, but it's quite frustrating in a minute.
Yeah, for me, it feels like he's almost overthinking things now. Like he made a big point last week before Ipswich, didn't he, to say that he'd watched every single Ipswich game.
Mm.
But then the team selection he picked was one that I don't think any QPR fan would have picked. So, like I say, he's like overthinking it. Where did Escudina come back from for that one? Then he's not even in the squad for this game. Against Ipswich, we had no pace out wide when it was quite clear Ipswich have got good attacking wingers. That we needed some help at the back. So it's just a little bit odd. I agree with you. He's trying to like keep players involved, give them more minutes, but results need to come first, don't they? And like I say, it feels like he's going to be too extreme in what he's doing. Changing the defense every game is clearly unsettling things. So we're looking very poor at the back. So he probably needs to move away from that. And I know we can lament his team selection, but is a major factor in this downturn in form now that just we've got too many players who've all dipped out of form at the same time.
Yeah, definitely, especially at the back. I thought Morrison had another pretty poor game tonight. I thought Jimmy Dunn hasn't been playing well lately. And Bengay, I thought he done all right, but he makes a mistake for the goal, doesn't he? And you know, I even Varane in midfield. I thought Varane got better as the game went on, but he's nowhere near what he really was last season. You're seeing it all across the team, and you know, it that is why he's changing it, because it must be frustrating for him, because you see like The other week at Swansea, Hayden had a great game, so he puts him in against Ipswich, and he's dreadful. You see Harvey Vale one week looks really good. He starts the next game and does nothing. So I can see where the manager's coming from with changing it, but he does need to try and settle on the team soon, I think.
Yeah, definitely, especially at the back. I feel like I used to play defense, so I know you want to play with the same players. You get an understanding. It's just not happening. And the last few games, we said it about last week, but it's been hard to give any QPR player other than Ramon Burrell, I think, more than a 5 or 6 out of 10, and that's not
Yeah,
going to get results. He's the only QPR player who's scored in the last month. So you look at Koki Saito, he's not showing the same verve as when he
no.
first came back, and Vale and Kone both looked incredible around the Wrexham Stoke games in September, but they don't look anywhere near that level now. Both deservedly dropped probably against Southampton. So I agree with you, even though we're saying should he change it, it does make sense sometimes why he is. Jimmy Dunn doesn't look the same as last season, does he? Madsen and Varane drifting in and out of games recently. So the list goes on. And the results this week mean we've slid down to our natural home in 16th place. Shame, as we were sixth just 5 games ago. Have you sensed the mood around the club has taken a dive, Dave?
Yeah, it's always this way at QPR. It does seem extreme. Like a couple of weeks ago, we were the best team in the league with the best manager, and no one was going to stop us. And now we're the worst team with the worst manager, and we're doomed. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground. For me, we weren't the best team 6 weeks ago, and we're not the worst team now. We're a mid-table side, which is where I still think we'll finish. And a mid-table side is going to have a good run and a bad run and a good run and a bad run. That's what will happen throughout the season. We're just having a bit of a bad run at the minute. I think it'll turn around again. We need to turn it around soon because you don't want to turn it into a slump and go 10, 12 games without a win like we have done in the past. But I don't think there's any real need to panic. I think, if we can get a win, get something at the weekend or win the next home game, I think things will calm down a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just the frustration comes because we all hope for better. We hope this side could
Mm,
be different. We hope it'd be different on Julien Stephan. But all the signs are there, aren't they? It's the same old QPR once again for
yeah.
another season. But as bad as this run is, 4 defeats in 5, we all expected to struggle this week. So like, you're right, we do have to stay calm. We thought in June we probably wouldn't get any points this week. So now that we're here, the hope is evaporating, but it's not unreasonable. I think we're going to have to see how we go against Hull, Blackburn, Norwich in a few weeks before we leap to any huge conclusions. The problem is when the league is as close as it is, and we've discussed that in previous weeks, we went from bottom 3 to top 6 in 6 games, and now we're seeing that we can go the other way just as quickly. But yeah, we're a mid-table side, I think, aren't we? And you're going to win as many as you lose when you're in that position, like you
Mm.
said. So good runs, bad runs, it's frustrating. God, obviously, the prospect of now QPR embarking on another 6 game losing streak or something is depressing. But let's just see if we can arrest the slide now before the international break as we head to Sheffield United. Starting on a bleak note here as well, because they're a team we have a pretty awful record against. 1 win in the last 9 meetings. That was at Bramall Lane under Mick Beale over 3 years ago now. At one point, we lost 5 in a row against them before that, but we did draw here at the start of last season. Lyndon Dykes equalising late on in his last action in a QPR shirt. They've had a really disappointing start to the season. We think we're miserable probably talking about QPR here, but Sheffield United has been terrible. Ruben Sellers sacked after losing the first 6 games. And it feels like, Dave, they're going to spend the season paying the price for some odd decisions in the summer.
Yeah, I mean, they had an incredible season last year, really, didn't they? They had a points deduction and they got well over 90 points. And to be honest, they should have won the playoff final. They were the better side and they just got beaten late on. They were really unlucky. And they just seem to go mad in the summer and want to change the whole thing and play a different style and get a new manager. And it's really not worked for him. And even though Chris Wilder's back, he hasn't really been able to change it much so far. They just seem to win or lose. They don't seem to get many draws, do they? They're in a terrible run, but here we come. We're the team you want to play if you're on this sort of run, aren't you? Let's be honest. But it's been I would have thought this year Sheffield United comfortably around the playoffs. The position they're in is incredible at this stage to still be down there.
Yeah, I'm surprised Ruben Sellers struggled as much as he did. He impressed a lot of people when he was at Reading, but you felt like once he took the Sheffield United players on the pitch and told them off after the opening match that his reign was doomed to fail from that point. I do wonder if Chris Wilder can be as invested as he was in the past after how he was treated in the summer. It's a strange dynamic in going back in there. But you're right, last season, 92 points. if they got like this season, you probably think they'd win the league. So they were unlucky
Yeah.
how it kind of fell. But you look at their squad; they got like Tanganga, Brooks, O'Hare, Burrows, Cannon. They shouldn't be struggling. Do you think they are candidates to go down though?
I don't think they'll go down. I think they'll will eventually turn it around. I'm amazed they're still down there, to be honest. They picked up a few wins and then they've got on another bad run since. With the quality they got, I can't see them being down there at the end of the season. I think they'll get out of it. I don't think they're going to finish as high as they should do. They won't be. I don't think they'll be making playoffs or around them sort of positions. But I can't see them being bottom three. I think there's far worse sides than them in this league.
Yeah, I think over the course of the season it'll pan out that way. 4 points from safety now, but we know ourselves from the last 2 seasons, it doesn't mean anything at this stage.
Yeah, no.
I'd be surprised if they don't finish mid-table over the course of the season. They just look a bit unbalanced to me right now. They concede too many, don't score enough, lacking in confidence. And Chris Wilder openly saying already this midweek that he can't wait to do surgery on the squad in January. So expect some expensive loans to come in and help them. On the pitch, it looked like they'd maybe turned a corner when they won back-to-back games, but since then it's been three straight defeats, conceding 3 goals in each of those losses too. On paper, they're there for the taking, but you just alluded to it, Dave. When do QPR ever do the taking?
Yeah, not often. I mean, I can't. I'm going up there at the weekend. I can't say I'm going with much confidence. I think most people will probably be saying the same. This will be a banker home win. For me at the weekend, that the first, we say a lot. The first goal is absolutely key at the weekend. They're a team low in confidence. If we can get in front, have something to hold on to, and build a bit of confidence from us, I think we could get something there. We could win the game. But if we go a goal behind, I mean, our confidence will be shot, and you can just see it being a tough afternoon. Yeah, I think this is a difficult game for us, especially on the back of this run.
Yeah, you're right. It's the first goal is massive. They've only won one at home so far. So he's only scored 4 goals at home. If we can get ahead, the crowd is going to be so against them, and
Mm.
we've got to get to that point. But it's just QPR. We say it all the time that we just literally exist for teams to win when they're struggling. Should say as well, they like to have a change in goal as Cooper went off injured at half time against Coventry. That could maybe help us as they're already clearly nervy at the back. I watched some of their defeat against Derby. They looked wide open. Some really soft goals conceded in that match and against Coventry midweek too. So let's see what QPR can do. And it's become very difficult, obviously, to predict Julien Stephan's lineup, what he's going to come up with, saying about his tinkering before. But one change will be enforced here. As we know, Reece Norrington Davis can't play against his parent club. Makes it all the more bizarre that he threw in Escudina last week when he was going to have a match where he could be rested this week. Do you think it's Field or Escudina here, though, replacing him?
Yeah, I mean, probably Field. You would have thought in this one. I think I like Escudina. He's a promising young kid, but you think they're doing over he got last week. I'd be surprised if he starts in this one. I think so. Probably have to go with Sam Field at left back for this one. So again, it's another change to the defence. I don't know if Morrison coming off tonight was tactical or if he was injured again, but you'd hope he'd be okay. And you probably want to try and keep the two centre halves the same again. To be fair, of the three centre halves we've got, none of them are playing particularly well at the minute, but you'd probably go with those two at the moment. And a right back, I think right back's a bit of a problem position for us at the minute. Jimmy Dunn's really not playing well, and I just think the way that Julien Stephan wants to play, he's not really suited to it. But who else is there? So really, so I think Dunn will probably start there.
Yeah, his first name on the team sheet still, even
Mm,
though he's not performing well, whether that's a good or bad thing. But he keeps doing the same move all the time where he just seems to shield the ball with his body. Think he can kind of use his strength to outmaneuver the player when it's not working. And he's kind of like slowing down a lot of the moves. It seems it's a
yeah,
pattern I keep seeing all the time. So I can't see Keely Adamson coming in there at this point. I agree it'll be Sam Field, I think, at left back. He was solid at Swansea. Probably should have played there against Ipswich because, yes, it's not his natural position, but he does a job. He'll sit there.
yeah.
He's a good aerial presence too, which we now Sheffield United like a long throw. In the middle, I'd probably almost want to say I'd bring in Steve Cook because Morrison was poor, but I don't want to change the defenses too much. So I contradicted myself a little bit, but I think I'd go with Cook and Mbenge. Um, at the other end of the pitch, again, harder to predict because he's now tried a five-man midfield. But do you think Kone will come back in up front with Burrell?
I'm not sure he will, to be honest. I think Burrell done well again. I'd definitely start him. I actually thought Chair was okay tonight. I thought he did quite well. He was always looking for the ball, trying to get on it. think the problems were kind of around him. I thought Saito, I thought he had a poor game again. He really just seems to lack a bit of belief in himself to get that cross in. And I thought Smith defensively was good, but going forward he wasn't. And then Dembele come on and looked good going forward, and defensively was an absolute mess. So if we could combine them two into one player, we'd have a hell of a winger. But it's hard to know what options he'll go with. Maybe Harvey Vale will come back in. He didn't feature at all tonight. Um, it's a bit of a tombola with those positions. He's just who's going to come out of the hat for the next game.
Yeah, I know. And again, it's probably what is leading to the tinkering, like we said before, because none of them are particularly in form. They might play well
Mm,
1 minute, not good, not bad the next. I agree on Dembele. He did okay when he came on going forward, but I don't think we concede that second goal if Paul Smith is on the pitch.
no,
So away from home, I wonder if Paul Smith's not got an injury or something. I think he might start Paul Smith. I agree on the other side, Saito, maybe Chair will have to move over there if he wants to play Kone and Burrell together. I think the only certainty is probably that Isaac Hayden does come in, probably with Madsen, because again, Varane was a bit hit and miss, but Madsen's not been quite as good the last few games, but at least he does pass it between the lines when he can. Very hard to predict. Please do let us know what your thoughts are in the comments. I don't think anyone will be right though, based on the last few games. Just leaves you with your prediction, Dave. Sheffield United, you actually said it before, but they've not had a draw yet. And they're the first second tier side for 22 years to lose 11 of the opening 14 games. Would you take a draw this weekend? And what are you predicting?
I'd absolutely take a point if we can get one this weekend. Just put a halt to the losses, but it's just very QPR. I can see us losing the game. I think it'll be tight. I don't think there'll be much in it, but I think they'll probably win 1-0 or 2-1. But if we do get the first goal, I think we've got a hell of a chance in this one. But I, I just think we're on a bit of a downer in a minute, and I can just see us losing this one.
Yeah, I'd definitely take a draw. I agree. Feels like the same old QPR is starting to show itself more and more every week. And
Mm.
we're a side who's not scoring many, like I said before, but we're playing a team who can't win at home. They're losing all the time. It's just almost inevitable to me. It's going to be 2-0 or 2-1 Sheffield United. So yeah, I think I'll go with 2-1. I can fancy see us getting a goal on the break, maybe. Again, let us know your thoughts and your predictions in the comments. And that's it for this period, the international break now. Brian will be back next week with a Rangers roundup to summarise and analyse this past month's slide down the table, shall we say. And then Dave and I will be back in a fortnight ahead of QPR versus Hull, which could be a pretty big game by then if we have lost another one. Until then, thank you for watching, as always, and come on, you Rs.